move, I think, is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful combination from Fox. It's simply stunning. And what is the idea here? Well, it's a bit similar to moving the knight to this square, but I think this is even better. The idea is if you get a chance, okay, if black does nothing now, what's white going to do next? Let me just get these lines out of the way. Well, again, if you now you can move the rook around, and if h6, there's going to be something nasty. I mean, it's just a very flash move. Let's have a look what happens if black takes it first. So I think we should calculate that first. Well, if pawn on f7 takes, what is the winning idea now? So what is the winning idea now? It's actually very similar to the last variation, except you've kept your knight now. So what is the winning idea now? How can we win in this position? So what? Oh no, actually, well, maybe this is not winning. Maybe this is not winning. Is this winning? I don't think this is winning, actually. I think this is not winning. I think there's no follow-up here. There's no follow-up here, it seems. Because, again, if you go rook to f3, if you take here, like before, go rook to f3, you're giving up all your pieces. So you've got to make sure you're checkmating. But I don't think there's a checkmate here. I think black can go d5, and he's blocking out the bishop again. So he still has d5. So this is not actually winning. So, well, I think we're going to have to go back here. No one's... to be honest, I've been tricking you a little bit, guys. But in this position, I did say... I think knight to... If you go knight to e7, if I had this position, I quite like the idea of bishop takes f7 here with an ongoing attack. Let's just go back here. Is there a better move here? Okay, I'm now... I did say knight to e7 was the right move, but let's just see if there's any other... I mean, knight to e7 is okay. Queen to g5 is okay, but is there something even better? What about a move you just suggested if you play it here? I mean, this next move is again, reminiscent of Marshall, but we've just got to get the move order right. Rook to f3 is a good move. Is there anything a bit more beautiful? Rook to f3, bringing another piece into the attack is good. We looked at queen to g5, which is also good. Queen to g5 is very good, but is there an even better move than these? Remember, what was the problem with queen to g6 before? The problem was f takes. And if we take here, the problem with this idea, rook to f3, is always g6. So you've got to get your moves right. No one's got the right answer yet. And in this position, the king is always going to have g7 square. Kama has got it right. What you need to do, the whole point of bishop to b6, is to divert the queen away from this square. When the queen takes the bishop, now this beautiful move, queen g6 here. And the point of this now is, well, you threaten checkmate on g7. So the queen has to be taken. So you're creating a very dangerous threat. Because you haven't checked first, the bishop is pinning the f-pawn to the board. So unlike the other variation, black can't go f takes queen. Black only has one way to stop queen takes g7 checkmate. So you just got to get the right move order. I mean, in a game situation, you might see these ideas, and you've got to just turn around the move order sometimes with these combinations. You've got to, dabble with the move order. If you see an idea and you think that looks good, calculate it as deeply as you can. If it doesn't work, try changing the move order sometimes. And here, well, if pawn takes g6, what is the winning combination now? Come on, no one's told me the final answer to this yet. You've got the right idea, but you haven't calculated it as deeply as we need to. So it should be quite easy now. Should be quite easy. Well, you can see the right idea. Knight to e. Does it end there? You guys are not finding the whole combination here. You're not finding the whole combination. You guys have got the right idea. But one thing you've got to do in chess is always consider your opponent's best defensive moves. And you're not calculating quite far enough, because in the line that you're giving, black can try queen to c5 with the idea of going queen to h5. What are you going to play against that? Anyone see? Come on, I don't want to put the moves on the board, because doing these combinations is always about seeing a little bit further. If you can't play the moves in the game, I will do in a minute. I'll give you 1 minute. So obviously the right idea is check, let's say king h7, rook f3, but then queen c5. Oh, well done, Geo. Geo52 seems to be the first person to get the whole combination. And the whole combination is knight to e7 check. And now the king, it doesn't matter where the black king goes, it makes no difference. Let's say king to h7. We now play rook to f3, and the idea is this Anastasia checkmate. And the point of this, the difference between this and some of the other lines when we took on h7 is that black can't move the g7 pawn because it's got a pawn in the way. In some of the other variations, black could play pawn on g7 to g6 and have this square for the king. You can't do that now. So there's only one possible defense. And remember, when you're calculating, you need to think of the opponent's possible defenses. Rook to queen to c5, and the idea now is to block the queen, from coming over there. If we do now play the horrible move, let's say we played a horrible move, rook to h3 check. Well, if you play this move, queen to h5, and black is actually winning because you've run out of material. Now, if you do Mitzi Kat's idea of e5, black is actually better here. Well, maybe not better, but black is surviving. How is black maybe surviving this position? Can anyone see a defense? What is the best defense? e5 is a natural move because you're trying to block the queen, but black can still defend here. It's amazing. You've got to get the habit of finding your opponent's best defensive moves. Anyone see how black can defend in this position? Bishop e1 doesn't help really because a rook takes e1. That just delays the checkmate for a move. Doesn't actually make any long-term difference. Good try, Mitzi Cat. Is there anything better? Is there any better ideas than bishop to e1? Anyone? Remember, you've got to think of your opponent's best defensive moves, because if you're in this position, you played e5, it would be a big mistake. Queen to c3 doesn't help because a pawn takes c3. Again, you're only finding moves that delay the inevitable, but don't actually stop the checkmate. There is an idea here. Anyone see the defense? Come on. You've got to get desperate. What is the defense? There's a defense here. You need to try and get rid of this knight, even if you have to give up your queen. How can you do that? How can you do it? How can you get rid of that knight? Anyone find the right move? Come on, you've got to defend as well as attack to be a good tactician. I'm going to show the answer because I want to move on to the next one. The right move here is queen takes e5. I'm surprised that no one found that move. And again, the point is you want to go queen to h5. So if rook h3 check, queen to h5. And if we go pawn takes queen, then in this position, let me get this right. Okay, how can we defend here? I thought I had a defense here. Did I have a defense? What's the defense here? What was the defense now? Anyone else see the defense here? Go on, giving you a bit of time. Maybe this is just another delaying tactic. There is a defense here. What is the defense now? We can't actually get rid of the knight yet, but you can defend with king to h6. Unbelievable. Well done, Kama, for spotting that. Not an easy move to find. I mean, it's still probably a good position for white here, but it's not quite checkmate because black is groveling, and now the king can come here because we got rid of the f4 square. Quite an amazing defense. So the best way to win in this position is to just put either the rook or the bishop on d5. And I love this technique. Here, Fox played rook to d5. And in this position, black resigned because now there is no way to stop rook to h3. And this is a very beautiful, I think it's a beautiful tactic here. If you go queen takes d5, well, I can just take the queen. I'll probably go bishop takes d5. And now rook to h3 is unstoppable. So let's just go back, run through this again, because I think it's worth seeing. The easiest win here is queen to g5. But white showed off here, and he played bishop to b6. And then queen to g6. Phenomenal idea. Only one move, pawn takes. And now this Anastasia checkmate. Check. Rook to f3. And then the other rook comes up. Rook to d5. And very, very nice checkmate there. So hopefully most of you saw a lot of that combination. Okay, let's move on. So now, okay. Now, please remember, you should have the settings on your computer, so you can't see the moves that I'm suggesting. So try to put it on training mode. I don't want you to see the moves. On some of the puzzles I've got, the moves are basically shown, so please try to set it. You're trying to work these out without looking at the moves. Okay, now it's black to play, and I want everyone to get involved with this one. Everyone. It's black to play. This might be a bit of an easier one than the last one. I'm trying to mix it up, so some easy, some hard. Black to play. How do you assess the position? And black is going this way. He's going down the board. Black to play. Obviously, black is 3 pawns down. So any normal moves is bad. Now, I'm not asking you for a move. I'm trying to get you to think. Calculate deeper than one move, please. How would you assess this position? Winning for black, draw, or winning for white? So winning for black, equal, or winning for white? So how would you assess this position? Everyone, please take 1 minute. So you've got to consider it's black to move, black's best move. And then you've got to consider how things will play out, because everything is very forced here. So Mitzi Cat is saying winning for black. I want to hear an answer from everyone in the chat. And remember, you have a bit more time. If you're in a game situation, you'd have to think as deeply as you can. What I'm trying to get you to do here is think a little bit deeper. A little bit deeper. So Kama is thinking that it's maybe... I'm not asking you for the move. I'm asking you for the assessment. Do you think black is winning, white is winning, or it's equal? Skyscraper is saying black is winning. Bernard is saying black is winning. Anyone else? Remember, try to look a little bit deeper here. This is a typical mistake that I think we're seeing here. People are seeing an idea. They may be rushing. Double check your ideas. Double check white's resources. Always think of your opponent's best defensive moves. Anyone think white's winning? Does anyone think it's equal? At the moment, everyone thinks that black is winning. Now, I'm just going to give you another minute to make sure. Double check your calculations, please. Double check your calculations. Try to see if white has a defense in that position that you've all kind of worked out. Try to think a little bit further, because I'm disagreeing with your assessments at the position. I disagree with what you're saying, but you've got to tell me why. What I will show you in a minute. What can white do? Does white have a defense in the line that everyone's giving? Does white have a defense? I like this one because, again, I think it shows just how, you know, in situations, you've got to look. Okay, but why is white? Okay, and if you think white is winning, tell me why. Why? What variation? No one's told me the variation. Okay, so Senlek is saying white is winning, maybe because I said white's winning, but why? Tell me the combination. Tell me the combination of moves. Why is white winning? So what we're looking at is rook to h1 check, forcing king takes rook, and then pawn takes pawn, and it looks like black will get a queen, and that's unstoppable. But in that position, is there any way to do it? Okay, now Kama is thinking a little bit further. I don't know if Kama still thinks white's winning, though. He hasn't said. So give me your variation and your assessment. It looks like Kama has solved this one, and it should be now becoming clear to everyone that in actual fact, white is winning. White is winning. White is winning. White is actually winning. Because, okay, if black doesn't do rook to h1 check here, then clearly black is 3 pawns down in an ending, so black will lose the ending. And the point of this combination is just seeing a little bit further, and you should be able to see this from this position without moving the pieces. If you go rook to h1, check. This looks like it's winning for black, but it's not. King takes h1, pawn takes f2. Maybe even white would resign this in some game situation. But here, well, there's still actually some chance of a fortress, but the way to win is this amazing idea, rook to f5. And this gets the rook behind the pawn. And the reason I think this should have been quite easy to calculate is that every move is the only move in your vision, really. I mean, here, you've got to stop the pawn. What is the only way you can stop the pawn? It's rook to f5. So this is forced. What's black's only move? Well, he's got to take the rook. And what's the only way you can now try to stop this pawn? Well, the point is you can now play g4. And in this position, it is check. And next move, because it's check, your king will come to g2. And you will take that pawn. and you'll be completely winning. So white is actually winning here. So I think some of you got that right. And remember, double check your things. That was a little bit of a trick again there. A little bit of a trick again. For example, if king e4, king to g2, king e3, and now the important move here, because you've got to stop king e2, is king to f1. And again, it should be easy to see that white's winning. Okay, let's move on to another question. So next one, I think it's quite an easy one. So now, this is quite a strange one because this is actually a much lower rated game. And in this position, black is clearly winning. And this was actually, I saw this game with a junior I coached with black. And black had played very well up to this stage. Black is a piece up. Black is a piece up. But now, a classical mistake, black, because he's a piece up, relaxed. He started being sloppy calculation. And here he played bishop takes b2. And my question to you is, after bishop takes b2, which looks very strong because you're trying to get the knighting here, what is wrong with this move if black then goes after bishop takes bishop, knight to f4 and knight takes queen? Why is knight to f4 check and then knight takes queen a bad idea here for black? Black's still all right, but in the game, black thought, I'm winning the queen. Black played knight to f4 check, king to h2, knight takes d3, thinking that he was still winning, but then white shocked him with a very nice combination. So what is the combination? And remember, don't just tell me one move. Telling me one move is pointless. You need to tell me the combination. So what I'm asking you, if knight to f4 check, king to h2, knight takes d3, what can white play then? Not just one move, remember? Try to tell me a little bit deeper. I know you've got the right idea, Mitzi Cat. I'm just trying to get you to think a little bit, a couple moves deeper. So obviously, rook takes g7 check is obvious, but then what do you do after king to h8? And type it in the chat there. What do you do after king to h8? Is there a good move for white there? And this is how someone I was teaching lost. Well, I mean, I don't do much teaching nowadays, but this is one kid I was helping out with. And the funny thing here was, it just shows you need to think a little bit further. Don't rush. And it's clear to see that white has a very dangerous combination of bishop and rook here. And I wouldn't allow this. If you're a piece up, play the safe option unless you're 100% sure about your calculation. So what is wrong? No one's given me an answer yet. So what is wrong with knight to f4 check, king h2, and knight takes d3? Why would black be losing if that occurred? Well, Mitzi Cat is saying, I guess he's saying, remember, rook takes g7 check, king here, rook takes f7 check. That's not the right answer, because then black can play knight takes b2, Mitzi Cat. Remember, black has a knight on d3 by the stage, attacking the bishop. And maybe this is what was missed. I've got the dates there wrong. This is actually not from 1913. I wasn't actually teaching in 1913, funnily enough. This was from another game. I got my dates mixed up for this one. But there's a much stronger idea than that. Anyone see it? Who's going to be the first to see it? Who is the first? I'll just give you one more minute to try and solve that. Then I'll tell you the answer. Can anyone solve this one in a minute? Then I'll show you a couple moves, make it a little bit more easier, actually. No, you're wrong, Mixie Cat, because remember, if you go rook takes f7, the knight on d3 will go knight takes g7. Bishop to g7 is too slow, Mixie Cat. I think, remember, try not to guess, guys. Try not to guess. You've got to really think about this. If bishop to f6, as Bernard is suggesting, I just play queen takes f6. So that's not the right answer. Senlak, well done. Well done, Senlak. Senlak is the first person to solve this. Congratulations to Senlak. And Senlak has pointed out, this is what happened in the game. Black played knight to f4 check, king h2, very dangerous combination, knight takes d3. And I think black was thinking here that because the knight is always attacking the bishop, that he's winning. But the nice combination here, and remember, always look for your checks first, especially in tactics. Always look for the most forcing moves. So rook takes g7 is a check. And after king to h8, we have this position you were trying to analyse. Rook takes f7 check is not the right answer because we can go knight takes b2. And of course here, black is numerous points up. But the right answer is double check, rook to g8 check. And this is a very common theme in tactics. So well done to Senlak. And the point here, it's a double check. So there's only one move. King takes g8. And now look at the power of this bishop. Deadly. The other rook comes to g1 check. One move here. Queen to g5. And now rook takes g5 checkmate. So that is, I would say, let's see how you get on. So what should you do in this position? It looks like you're losing a piece. I'll give you a clue in about 1 minute. So white to play. Is there a way you can avoid losing a piece here? Is there any way you can avoid losing a piece? Anyone see a way to avoid it? Let's have a go. And remember, tell me some variations, please. I don't think queen to g2. And remember, I don't just want one move. Try to calculate it as deeply as you can. Remember, no one use computers. That would be very bad. I have to say, Mitzi Cat is certainly on the right wavelength. Congratulations, Mitzi Cat. I don't think queen to g7 is going to help. You lose your queen. I don't think that helps. Black has just played pawn to e5. Black is attacking the white queen and the bishop. How can white survive this position? Can white survive? Mitzi Cat has the right idea. Well done, Mitzi Cat, by the way. But can you back it up with a little bit of calculation, Mitzi Cat? And I'll give everyone else a clue. The clue here is that in actual fact, Black's back rank is a little bit weak here. Black's back rank is quite weak. And there is a way that I think white can get a very nice advantage here, rather than resigning. And never give up hope. Rather than resigning, black can certainly get a nice advantage here. So what can black play here? What can black play in this position? What can black do here? I'm going to give you a clue. The first move, and it's a brilliant move, is rook takes a7. And congratulations to Mitzi Cat, who found that move. And the point of this move, hopefully it's becoming clearer to everyone, is that you're trying to divert the rook away from the defense of the bishop. So black has three choices here. Black can play bishop takes queen, rook takes rook, or rook b8. Let's have a look at them one by one. Well, if we play rook takes rook, white now gets a winning attack with queen takes c8 check, and you can now see the weakness of the back rank. King to e7, and here, well, maybe not rook take. Well, maybe rook takes is okay. Check, because you always have bishop to f1 covering your back rank, and this black king is too weak. So we can discount this one. this after this move, rook takes a7, we can discount rook takes rook. And if bishop takes here, again, I think that white gets a very good position here by going rook takes rook check, king to e8, king to e7 is forced. And now in this position, I think just bishop takes e5. And even though at the moment white is a rook for a queen down, there's nothing that black can do here because we have a very nasty discovered check with our bishop on the next move. For example, queen e6, that stops the discovered check, but after bishop takes c3, we're going to win the queen and win the game. So the only thing that could be tried here from black is rook to b8. This is the only way that black can try to survive. And what can white play now? So let's continue this calculation. What can white play now? What can white play in this position? And again, it's the same idea. So you found the first move. What is the follow-up here? Can anyone see the follow-up for white in this position? What is the follow-up in this position? What is the correct way to continue here? What is the correct way for white to continue here? So you're white. Senlak has got the right idea. You continue with the same theme. The same theme. Rook takes b7. An astonishing idea. And the point of this move, again, it's the same as before. If rook takes rook, we go queen takes bishop check. We saw how that was good. And if bishop takes queen, we do the same thing. Rook takes rook check. Bishop takes e5. This is also good. And if, let's say, what else can be done here? Well, if bishop takes rook, then bishop takes e5 is going to be very good because we're attacking the queen, we're attacking the rook, we're attacking g7. This is going to be winning for white. So the only option here, the only way that black can try to defend is by putting the rook back on a8. Now here, I think there's a draw, a very amusing draw. This is a completely crazy position. I think white can draw by going rook to a7 again. And of course, we've looked at all the variations now. Black has to go rook to b8. And if you play the amazing move, rook to b7, it's a draw. But here, I think that white has better than a draw. I'm just going to show you a variation, give you a quick question here. I think white can play for a win with bishop takes e5. And the point is, this attacks the queen. Black has to now go bishop takes g4. This is the only move. And now we play bishop takes b8. And this position, to me, looks like it's winning for white. Even though we're a queen down, the threats against the black king are too much. For example, first question to you guys. And if black now goes pawn takes b2, white to play and force checkmate. How can white force checkmate against pawn takes b2? So who can be the first to see the answer here? Look for the most forcing moves first. And again, this is still to do with black's back rank here. The black's back rank is very bad. Mitzi Cat, well done. Remember, guys, try to give me your whole variations if you can. But the move here, well done, Mitzi Cat. You need to just clear off the back rank. Your bishop is in the way. So if we go bishop to d6 check, black has to play queen takes bishop. And now we just go rook here check. And it's going to be checkmate very soon. So pawn takes pawn is not working. So maybe black's best defense here is knight to e7. And now there's a brilliant idea here. And the brilliant idea, which is quite hard to see, I'll show you, is bishop to b5. And the idea of this is to control e8. And now if pawn takes b2, we can do a similar thing. Bishop to d6. This is a brilliant move. And if we're able to take here, we're going to win probably. And if queen takes d6, what is the winning idea for white now? So it's white to play and force checkmate, 4-move checkmate. How can white force checkmate in this position? Can anyone see the way forwards here? White to play and force checkmate. How do you do that here? Anyone see the correct continuation here? And I know you're suggesting one move. Please suggest more than one move. Rook takes e7 might be good, but can't I get a queen? I can get a queen here, Mitzi Cat, and then maybe black's winning. So Remember, try to tell me more than one move. Skyscraper is saying rook to a8 check, but what happens then if bishop c8 skyscraper? What are you going to then play? I'm trying to get you to think more than one move here. What more than one move? More than one move. Well done, Kama. Kama's the first to give me the whole variation. The correct way to do this, and one of the reasons we put the bishop on b5 is to control e8. So we go rook to a8 check. Now, basically, if knight e c8, rook to e8 checkmate. And the point is, after bishop to c8, as Cameron's pointed out, we can divert this knight away. Rook takes c8 check, and we deliver checkmate with our remaining two pieces. So very nice checkmate. Okay, let's move on to one more. And let's see how you get on with this one. And maybe we'll make this the last one because Garry Kasparov is playing. So this is your last chance. Your last chance to excel. Your last chance to excel. And then we can go and watch Garry Kasparov playing in the live server. So your last chance here. Then we're going to call it a day for today, Simon says. And I'm going to pick up this one. It's white to play here. So you are white. And I want you to assess the move. So tell me if it's good or bad and why. So you've got to back it up with calculations. Is queen to e5, threatening checkmate, good or bad? And why? Is that move? So imagine you're in a game situation. Imagine you're white here. You have the white pieces. Now, you have the opportunity of moving your queen into e5, which threatens checkmate. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? And why? Why is it a good idea or why is it a bad idea? So why would queen e5 be good or bad? And it leads again to a very forcing variation because you're threatening checkmate there. So black only has one idea. So what do you guys think? Is queen e5 good or bad? And I'll just give you a chance to solve that now. And I will then call it a day after this one. So is that good or bad? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? You can't castle, I'm afraid, Mitzi Cat. Remember, because the queen is stopping you castling. So you need to come up with concrete variations. And one thing I would say, after queen e5, rook e8, look at the most forcing moves. So look at moves that are checks or captures. It's always the way to do it with these puzzles. To try to improve your vision. Try to improve your vision. Look for the checks. Look for the captures. So obviously the key idea is what you do after queen e5, rook e8. What happens after rook e8? Do you have a good idea there? If you don't have a good idea after rook e8, you lose your queen, you lose the game. And this is a typical situation you could get in a game where you're trying to work out an idea, and if you can't get it to work, then you wouldn't be able to play queen e5. And then queen to g7 checkmate. Black can't move the f-pawn because the f-pawn is pinned. So the only thing that black can do is pin the queen. And it may look like white is now losing because you're losing the queen. And the funny thing about this position is that white resigned here. Can you believe it? White actually, according to this old book I was reading where I got this from, white in this position resigned. And this was played in 1937 in Berlin. White thought he just blundered his queen and he resigned, but he didn't see that he had, again, you've got to look for the most forcing moves. What is the only check here? There's only one check here, and that is bishop takes f7, check. And there's only one move that black can play here, king takes. Now, you can't castle here because you'll be moving into check, but again, you should be looking at checks. There's only one check here, so this should be the first thing you're looking at. Rook to f1, check, the only move. And now black has to move the king back to g8. And now the point of the combination is that this rook here can be diverted away, and we can play now rook to f8 check, which is a very nice tactical finish. And after this rook to f8 check, you have to go rook takes f8, and now we are out of the pin. So queen to g7 is checkmate. Boom. Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining in this Simon Says. If there's loads of other Simon Says in the archive, so you can go and check out my other Simon Says. I try to do something a little bit different each time. So one week I might do tactics. The other week I might show you an opening idea. I always have some kind of theme. You know, I don't know which are more enjoyable, which you enjoy more. You know, I try to make it different every week, but give you something to think about. This time was just some fun tactics. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it helped some of your vision. So thank you very much for tuning in. Now, I recommend you all go and watch Gary Kasparov now playing in the Singfield Cup, because my words, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on, and I think he's going to do pretty well personally, but I don't know. We'll see, and I'm very excited. So have a good rest of the night. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time for Simon Says.